Our town may not look like much. We don't have a traffic light, much less a skyline. Just one giant brick reminder of who we are. We are home to a distillery that's the oldest of its kind. For 200 years, it made a whiskey beloved the world over, until hard times crept in and bolted its doors. But this is a place with a smokestack for a backbone, and people who believe that as long as the river's running, there's work to be done. As a town, we kept paying the distillery fee to keep hope alive, until we could once more fill its stills. Because we would never let that tower be reduced to a monument. We are Kilbeggan, a town and a whiskey both. And every bottle is proof our spirit never left.
Welcome to the Kilbeggan Distillery, a distillery like no other, the oldest licensed whisky distillery in Ireland. Here you can see Irish whisky making as it was 200 years ago. You can see the oldest pot still in Ireland, still working, still producing our famous whisky. And our iconic water wheel that in days gone by used to power the whole distillery. You can see the maturation warehouses where we put our whisky to sleep until it is perfectly matured and ready to be bottled. But this is not just a reminder of what once was. We still make our whisky using the traditional methods. From our traditional wood washbacks to our old pot stills, the quality of the whisky has remained as consistent as ever. To this day, we mature our whisky here at Kilbeggan, patiently waiting while the angels take their share. But don't take our word for it. We'd love to welcome you here at the Kilbeggan Distillery and let you taste it for yourself. Céad Míle Fáilte go Kilbeggan Distilling Company. You're all very welcome to the Kilbeggan Distilling Company. We are a company that embodies the tradition of Irish whisky. Our heritage dates back to 1757. We are the oldest licensed whisky distillery in Ireland. Whisky was invented in Ireland. It was invented by Irish missionary monks who discovered the art of distillation on their travels around Europe. They started to distill using barley, water and yeast. Irish whisky dominated the world up until the turn of the 20th century. However, there were a number of different events that contrived to destroy the Irish whisky industry. At the turn of the 20th century, Ireland broke away from Britain, and with that we lost our single biggest market, the British Empire, the British Commonwealth. At around the same time, you had Prohibition in the United States of America. Irish whisky almost didn't recover from this, and many distilleries disappeared off the face of the earth. We resurrected the Kilbeggan brand in 1987, and we started distilling here again in the year 2007, bringing that heritage back to Ireland. We do things differently here at the Kilbeggan Distilling Company, using methods that haven't been seen in Ireland for over 150 years. We use wooden mash tuns, we use wooden fermentation vessels. We also use the oldest pot still in Ireland, over 180 years of heritage going into every single drop of liquid. We double distill. This results in a flavoursome liquid, but also retaining all of that sweet, buttery, vanilla nature, the smoothness and the mellow taste that is unique to Irish whisky. We are proud to have preserved these iconic Irish whisky brands. Connemara, the peated single malt, through to Greenore, the most awarded Irish single grain whisky. Tyrconnell, the iconic horse Tyrconnell that won a race at odds of 100 to 1 in 1876. The brand dates back to 1762, a light, easy drinking single malt whisky. And then of course, Kilbeggan, our flagship brand from the most awarded Irish distiller, the Kilbeggan Distilling Company. It would almost take a lifetime to tell you all the stories, all the history, all the heritage that went into these whiskies. So why don't you come and visit for yourself? Visit us here at the Kilbeggan Distillery and learn for yourself what makes these whiskies great.
overall water wheel restoration has been hugely important for both Kilbeggan and Beam because the water wheel is iconic for not just the town but for the distillery as well. Anyone who ever visited us has commented on the water wheel because of the continuity over the 250 years. The water wheel used to be the heart and soul of the distillery. It powered everything. So hugely important to get it back to its former glory. The process itself started about a year ago when we put it out to tender, and we actually found that Ireland actually has a lot of expertise in water wheel restorations. We managed to source all of this expertise locally. We used Sheehan Sawmills, who did all of our woodwork, who are based down in Tipperary. We used a Thai foundry who has superior craft to anyone else we've seen in terms of moulding and in terms of cast iron. You know, the fact that we were able to source all of this locally has been brilliant because it just adds to the story. The fact that this craft has been around for generations and they were able to apply it again to this water wheel. And what we're looking at trying to do is, for people who can't actually visit us, we're going to try to look to put webcams on it as well. There's something quite profound or something quite soothing to the water wheel. I remember growing up and coming down here, and it's always had a big impact on people. Just seeing it turning, it gives it that sense of continuity, almost a peaceful side to things. And the fact that it incorporates quite a lot of the elements that's used to produce the whiskey, you know, I think it will have a big effect. It's one of the main talking points for people when they leave the distillery, our old water wheel, and I think it's something that we can own. We're looking at different ways in which we can use this water wheel to generate power again, which would be a really nice story that the old heart or engine of the distillery is back up generating power. You know, it's going to take a while to actually gauge how much energy we can produce, but you know, even as a project for some of the energy on the pot stills, I think that would be a really nice story. If we could somehow get it to power some of the town as well, I think it would be brilliant. Today was just about a local celebration. People have a lot of emotional attachment to it, obviously with the transition to a big American company.
I think it's hugely significant because here we've got a site which combines the heritage with the continued production of Irish whisky. The water wheel obviously dates right back to the beginnings of the distillery, and it's fantastic to see that turning again and powering the distillery. And on a day like today when the sun is shining, it's fantastic to see. Well, I think it was great to see the community. They've been involved right from the start. For speaking to some of them there earlier, they've been involved for 20-25 years and looking after and restoring and loving this site. And you can see the pride there is there. I think that Beam's aims will be to preserve the site, to grow the brands, and this site will have an important aspect to play in the future importance of the brands.
Pat and the whole team, the two Johns, did a phenomenal job over the entire summer. For Pat, representing Sheehan Sawmills, he did a brilliant job, so please put your hands together for Pat Sheehan. And look, as a final closure to this water wheel restoration, we're going to get Willie Meehan to turn the wheel, and we're going to give a salute or a sláinte as a good look for the turning of the wheel. Look, and long may it continue. Thank you very much. Come on.